Hello and welcome back to the Motorsport Better podcast. I'm your host Didi, and joining me today once again is my friend and your co-host Vedant. On this episode, we'll be talking about the IndyCar Road America GP. So let's grab some chai, take our seats, ready our opinions, and dive right into the conversation. Marcus Ericsson is our new championship leader. Finally, Vedant. The sneaky Swede is on top of the driver's standing after taking a second place at Road America and leads the championship by 27 points now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. There's no words for it. Marcus Ericsson, who would have thought? Who would have thought that Marcus Ericsson would be leading the IndyCar Championship and rightly nicknamed the Sneaky Swede, you know?
Yeah, the number 8 has been very consistent, just as all the other Chip Ganassi cars. But incident with Alex Palou, and Alex Palou was not pleased after what happened early on in the race. Uh, you know, which basically ended Alex Palou's race, bending his front tolling, I believe. But Marcus Ericsson is elbows out. He is not giving anyone space. He's not being polite on track. Not even to his teammates. He knows this championship is his, and he's got to fight for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, when you are in the championship fight, when you are leading the championship, when you have won the Indy 500, you can take a few more liberties and, spread your elbows wider and race harder, basically.
But it was Josef Newgarden who took home a $1 million prize, bounty basically for being the first to win a road course, street circuit, and oval in IndyCar this season. So obviously that will be split between his team, himself, and a charity of his choice. And once again, Penske dominating on the road on a road course. Um, Again, this like every other IndyCar championship, this is also wide open. Joseph
Yeah.
Newgarden sits third in the championship, couple points behind Will Power. And what a race from Joseph Newgarden. He jumped Alex Rossi in the pits, and then he kept the lead throughout the race restarts that he had to deal with. But let's talk about Will Power. We talked about Will Power changing his temperament last weekend. We talked about Will Power being a new man, Will Power being calm and collected. But what he did on track. If it was F1, he would have gotten a reprimand and a few penalty points. I'm not sure the penalty point system is, if there is one in IndyCar. I don't think there is one. But that was not a behavior you would expect from a senior statesman of the sport. And that is what was really, at least for me, that is what really stood out, even though what Devlin DeFrancesco did. Like, I was watching the race, and the incident happened where Devlin DeFrancesco basically took out Will Power, and I had to, like, pause for a minute and be like, what was I watching? Was I watching a video game? What was I watching? And I'm like, no, this is happening live. But the way it happened, it just seemed that it was like a video game, like an online lobby where
Yeah.
the person overtaking you doesn't care how he's overtaking. He's just trying to push you away and, like, just move forward. It was very comical. And then Will Power coming and, basically doing what Sebastian Vettel did to Lewis Hamilton in Baku a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, all the talk about the new willpower is, I don't know if it's behind us or something, but
I
I
mean,
think,
he was rightfully angry, but
I mean, he was angry, obviously, but I think the hard hitting willpower is still there, even if he has put on a more somber personality in front of him. you know.
but it was definitely comical to see that play out during the race. Another huge fight during the race, though, was Romain Grosjean and Colton Herta teammates. And there was a point where Alexander Rossi, Romain Grosjean, and Colton Herta were all fighting for the final podium place. But it was Alexander Rossi who ended up, P3, and behind him, Romain Grosjean and Colton Herta. Colton Herta nearly ran out Romain Grosjean onto the grass. I mean, he did so, not nearly, he did so. And that too on a straight. And Romain Grosjean kept it straight somehow with two wheels on the grass and two on the tarmac. So that was really interesting to see. But things are boiling in the Andretti camp too, it seems. We saw Romain Grosjean a couple of races ago Obviously, it was not his teammate, but giving Graham Rahal a couple of punches, and now Colton Herta just driving his teammate out on grass instead of just fighting it out on track.
Yeah, I think Roman and Colton did have some battle earlier in the season at Barber or something, where there was not contact, but a little bit of pushing around. But because I remember Colton was struggling slightly that weekend, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong about the weekend, about it being, Barber Motorsport Park, but I really do think that Roman and Colton have been fighting, and to see inter-team rivalry like that is interesting. And let's see how that pans out for Andretti with a new younger teammate coming in next season.
Absolutely, yeah. Like we talked about before. But talking about younger teammates and the driver market and whatnot, obviously last week we talked about Kyle Kirkwood moving to Andretti and Alexander Rossi moving to Arrow McLaren SP, and then there was before or even after that there were rumors that McLaren has been talking to Alex Palou about a possible move to Arrow McLaren SP. And that just goes to show what sort of a leverage currently the McLaren team holds on the IndyCar driver market. They have obviously Pato O'Ward, who is a young talent. He has obviously signed with IndyCar, but he has a testing program with the F1 team. Colton Herta is not even in the same camp, but he still has a testing program with the McLaren F1 team. And now it seems the next young star that is in that group, Alex Palou, might also be tied up with the McLaren team. So clearly the other F1 teams are missing a trick here. And whenever, F1 reaches that tipping point in America, McLaren will clearly be what Zach Brown said, America's F1 team instead of Haas or even Andretti if they were to enter.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was we have talked about Zach Brown and his masterclass and his master strokes over and over again, but I think what Zach Brown is doing, because people in IndyCar, the drivers in IndyCar know that McLaren are here to eventually stay and win championships, right, in IndyCar. So if, let's say, if a driver goes to McLaren, Pato O'Ward is already there. There's a team around him, and a team builds around a driver and a program builds around a driver. So in the long run, for drivers like anyone who goes to McLaren, it's a great deal. But as you said,
and the only thing that McLaren, I guess not the only thing, but like McLaren's diversified motorsport interests are a lot different than what it looks like for Penske or Chip Ganassi.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And
when I say different, obviously there are teams. Andretti has, I think, Extreme E team. Penske has a Formula E team, which McLaren also has. Both of those things. But Chip Ganassi also has, I think, an Extreme E team, maybe.
They have an Extreme E team.
And Penske and Chip Ganassi both go racing in IMSA. So, but the big factor is F1, and that is what making McLaren stand out amongst the young drivers in the IndyCar paddock.
And I mean, look, just think about it. Colton Herta was always like, Colton Herta has raced in Europe to take that F1 route. Alex Palou has raced in Europe to take that F1 route. And Pato O'Ward has not raced in Europe. I don't believe so. But still, he has been with McLaren and he knows that F1 route. So I think for a driver who has raced only in Europe, it's quite different. But for a driver who has raced in, for a driver who has only raced in the USA in the IndyCar Feeder Series, it's quite different. But when drivers know what the European stages have, what the Europe has, it's definitely more attractive for the younger generation.
Absolutely. It just goes to show the work that Zach Brown is putting in. And I mean, Zach Brown does run a team technically in the WEC series. but
United
it's not a
Autosports,
McLaren
yeah.
team. Yeah, but I won't be surprised if there was something to come from McLaren in in regards to endurance racing. Uh, if they were to start their own factory team, factory GT team or something like that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean that would be interesting, but I don't think that is anywhere in the cards right now. Maybe 5 years down the line.
yeah, and that would probably be different from McLaren racing. It would probably be a McLaren automotive operation too.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Just spitballing anyway. But yeah, the one last thing that I had on my list was that Paretta Autosport finally participated in their first race this season after the Indy 500 stint they did last season, and Simona de Silvestro finished 21st out of 27 cars on the grid. So definitely not bad for the first road course race I believe in 7 years for Simona.
Yeah, something like that.
So clearly she's on pace. I'm not sure where she, and yeah, she beat Tatiana Calderon, who's been running in every race this season. I'm not sure what the strategies were or what happened throughout the race, but at the end, when they crossed the checkered flag, the finish line, Simona de Silvestro was 21st, while Tatiana Calderon was the last of the running cars on track.
Yeah, I mean it's great to see Paretta Autosport back, running a race in IndyCar, and I believe they are doing a few more races this season.
I think it's a 3 race
Yeah.
plan.
So
They'll be there for a couple more
yeah,
races.
absolutely. So it's going to be interesting, and I think the commentators were talking about some internship that's been going around. There's a girl who is in school, and she had some quiz on Monday, and still she was at Road America with the team, and working and doing her internship. So there was some talk about that, but it's great. It's great to see Paretta Autosport and the work they are doing in IndyCar.
Yeah, absolutely. And from first-hand experience, I know if that girl continues to work in IndyCar over the next few years, until she graduates or whatever, she'll get a job in IndyCar without another team thinking twice if that were to be the case. So for anyone out there, yeah, just go work. But yeah, that's all from my side, Vedant. I know we haven't had a lot of chat about this weekend in IndyCar. We've been a little bit busy, but anything else that you would like to talk about that maybe I haven't brought up or touched upon yet?
We haven't talked about it much this season, but I think Helio Castroneves, his comeback to IndyCar is not going the way that he planned. He has had a ton of issues and a ton of offs this season, so hopefully he can get his form back and be competitive. But that's about it for Helio. And Jimmie Johnson, I really want to see him succeed a little bit more in IndyCar.
I definitely, he's done fairly well on ovals from what we've seen this
that's
year.
his experience, right? That he knows he knows the ovals like the back of his hand. He knows the physics around those places. But
again, the question is, does he want to continue doing the whole season, or does he? And also, it obviously depends on what Chip Ganassi want to continue with and things like that. But again, or is he just someone who's going to come and drive the ovals for Chip Ganassi every season?
we have seen drivers like that. We have Tony Kanaan and our beloved Pablo Montoya. All these drivers only drive the Indy 500 and maybe a race before the Indy 500. So that may be the case in the future for Jimmie Johnson.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you, Vedant, for talking about IndyCar with me. And as always, we'll keep bringing you the content week in, week out. So stay tuned for the next one.